Hi, I'm Kate Gregory, and this is Kate's Almost Greats. I wanted to call it Kate's Greats, but they're just tips, little things that I want to share with you. Sometimes they're my favorites, sometimes they're something I only just discovered. Today, I want to talk about the StackExchange Winter Bash. It's a time-limited thing, just goes on for a couple of weeks at the end of the year, and a lot of people don't call it Winter Bash, they call it StackExchange Hats, because it's all about the hats. Here's my profile on Meta StackExchange. And if you've watched my course on StackExchange and Stack Overflow, or even if you're just familiar with my presence on Twitter or on StackExchange sites in general, you know that my avatar is that comic book character swearing symbol. But this particular comic book character swearing symbol is partially obscured by a pirate hat, an eye patch, and a parrot. And that's because my avatar is wearing a hat. In fact, not only is my avatar wearing a hat here on my profile, but also up here in the status bar and on all of my questions and answers. So if I click on this particular answer, and you look down here at the bottom, it takes a moment, there is the hat on my avatar. Why? It's really just a fun thing. Here's the page that explains all about Winter Bash. As they say, it's just about celebrating the end of the year. It's not connected to any particular holiday, simply something to do for fun. And this page shows you the various hats that you can win, or at least some of them. Gives you a chance to play because there's JavaScript making these snowflakes animate, and lets you explore some of the kind of treats that are in store for people who want to play along with Winter Bash. Let's go back to my profile, and it takes a moment for the JavaScript to bring it in, but you see there's this extra line now in addition to helpful flags where it says hats 8 and there's a little snowflake next to it. And I can click this and see all of the hats that I've earned on all of the different StackExchange sites. Right now, my avatar is wearing Treasure Hunter, and you get Treasure Hunter for earning a gold badge during Winter Bash, so during those couple of weeks from December 15th to January 4th. You can see I've also earned, this one here is called Solstice. Simply post something, that is ask a question or answer a question or leave a comment on December 21st. This one is called Gelt, 2 little gold coins. Start a bounty, which I did on Meta StackExchange between December 16th and December 24th. Most of the time, the hats are given for things that you do during Winter Bash, but there's always one that's sort of an Easter egg, if you'll pardon my mixing metaphors for a moment, where it's given to you for something that you did before you knew there would be a hat for it. And this year, that's the St. Lucia hat. If you voted on December 15th, which is before it started, then you got this hat when it started. St. Lucia Day is not actually December 15th, but it was the closest thing they could find. They wanted to give it a name. And you can see that it's possible to earn a hat on a lot of sites. I voted on an awful lot of sites on that particular day. In fact, too many to fit in here, so it now says, and 2 other sites. So even though I came to this from my Meta profile, it's showing me all my hats across the system. Here, hand egg, because apparently it's not football, despite being a football helmet, for a score of 7 on an answer. Werewolf Hunter for earning a silver badge, and as I mentioned before, Treasure Hunter for earning a gold badge. Now you might notice that Treasure Hunter doesn't fit my avatar perfectly, and depending on what you're using for your avatar, your hats may not fit either. But it's a relatively simple thing to fix. I can actually just drag it around, that helps a little, and if I tick Show Controls, you can be as compulsive as you like. I can use this to adjust my hat to a rakish angle, and by pulling it up and down, I can make my hat bigger or smaller. I think I'll make it a little bit bigger, and then you can use this handle to move it around and kind of line it up with the top of my cartoony avatar. When I now click Wear Hat, you'll see that it's been fixed up here. There's something else I want to show you in these hats. This hat says, "This is a secret hat." And this hat says, this is a secret hat. Let me move it up a bit. It's covering up its own name. It's called Fascinating. So 2 of my hats, I can't see what I earned them for. The rest of them earn a gold badge, earn a silver badge. It's pretty easy to see what they're for. The list of hats on the Winter Bash page doesn't include the secret hats, only the non-secret hats. So you see there's St. Lucia, there's Werewolf Hunter, and you can read ahead and say, oh, if I post on Christmas Day using an app, I'll get the Gaudy Tablet for Christmas hat, even if you already had the tablet. If you delete your own answer at any point during Winter Bash, you'll get the Fear and Loathing hat. But there are all kinds of secret hats that are not listed here on this Winter Bash page. Let's go back to my profile, and I'll show you, among other things, how to get to that page anytime you want. I've got my inbox, somebody's left me a comment. I've got my reputation drop down to show what's been happening to my reputation in the last little while. But there's a new symbol up here in the top notification bar that only shows up during Winter Bash, and that's this little snowflake. If I click that, it shows me the hats that I've earned and which sites I've earned them on. And if I click one of them, let's choose Solstice on Academia. I go to my profile on that site and to my hats page, where I could choose, for example, to only wear Solstice on Academia and continue to wear Treasure Hunter on the rest of them, or whatever I'd like to do. And going back to that drop down, you'll see this link here says Winter Bash, and that's what takes you to this page that explains the whole story. You can see how other people are doing if you are a really competitive type. There's over 100 sites, so if you get 5 hats on each site, you can get 500 hats, right? Here you can see that on the day I'm recording this, network-wide, there's been 142,000 hats earned, and about a third of them, 50,000 of them, on Stack Overflow, and less as you go down through the smaller and smaller sites. But you're also seeing the actual hat-wearing avatars of the various people who have the most hats on all of these sites. You can see this hat here, which looks like a waffle, is quite popular amongst people who have a lot of hats. Tends to be the hat that they wear. Seeing a hat here that's not listed on the list of hats might kind of get you intrigued. I wonder how I can earn that and so on. But this isn't the only way that you can discover what other hats are out there. Let's go back to Meta. And I shouldn't have to look far to find a question with the, here we go, Winter Bash 2014 tag. Here's all the questions related to Winter Bash this year. For example, someone says, why did I get Solstice when it was the 22nd? The definition of dates during Winter Bash is very generous because of the time zones. You can get it if it's not that date in your time zone, but it is that date somewhere. You can get it if it's still that date in your time zone, even though it's no longer on the official StackExchange date and so on. They're very generous with how you're going to get qualified for a badge. But amongst the questions with this tag, you can find discussion of the secret hats. And in fact, there's even a tag, secret hats. Here you can find some hints if you don't want the full list and to know exactly what causes you to earn each hat. You can find someone just asking how many secret hats there are. And this is the sort of definitive, canonical list of secret hats. And you notice that the person has not put any spoilers in the little piece of text that shows. You'd have to go in and read the question in order to start to learn about the different secret hats. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. If you want to know what they are and start chasing them, why did I get Warm Welcome? Why did I get Fascinating? That's how you can find out, and you can have a little fun with that yourself as well. Now, if I go back to my Snowflake drop-down, in addition to the link to Winter Bash telling me about the hats I earned, there's this link here which I'm not going to click, which says, I hate hats. And if you click that, then hats don't exist for you. You don't see other people's hats on their questions and answers. The way here you can see these people are wearing their hats. You don't see your own hat. You don't get notifications about hats. Hats don't exist for you. Each site chose whether to opt in or not. Interestingly, Stack Overflow decided like, yeah, we'll do hats, but it'll be off by default. When I was recording the Pluralsight course about StackExchange, I created a newcomer type account, a profile with very low reputation, and this account hasn't been participating in hats in any way. So on Stack Overflow, when this account clicks the snowflake dropdown, it says if you want to participate in Winter Bash, click this button and then you'll see other people's hats and you'll collect hats and so on. On my primary account, I didn't have to opt in on Stack Overflow, but I still have a hat in my status bar here, and if I click on someone's post, I can see the hat that this particular person is wearing. And that's because I interacted with the hat system on another site that was taken as opting in on Stack Overflow. But if you don't like them and you think they're irritating, you can certainly opt out of them anytime. Now, one thing I want to say, if you're going to play along, part of the deal with hats is to encourage you to explore the features of the site, to discover that you can edit things, that you can roll back edits, that you can delete your own comments, that you can leave comments for other people, and so on. And if you, by reading about the secret hats or by reading through the frequently asked questions here on the Winter Bash page or anything else, sort of get excited and want to start asking something you wouldn't have asked, voting for something you wouldn't have voted for, have some fun, play along, but make sure whatever extra you do is a little extra good. Maybe ask a question because you're now given that extra motivation, but make it a good question. Leave an answer, but make it a good answer. Vote for something, but not any old thing randomly in the hope that you'll earn a hat, but something that deserves to be voted for. And remember, no matter how silly things get, all the hats disappear after January the 4th. They're all gone. It's not the new normal by any means. And they maybe will be back in 2015. People like them, so there's a good chance. But they're just a temporary bit of fun for a little bit. But remember, the rules still apply. If you post bad things, people will downvote them and you'll lose rep. If you really misbehave, you could be subject to a suspension or all the sorts of things that can happen to you if you normally misbehave. So just have fun and enjoy the hats. If you liked this almost great, and you'd like to learn more about how to use Stack Overflow and other StackExchange sites, I encourage you to check out my Pluralsight course. The link is there. There's also a post on my blog that has links to that course, to all my courses, and to where you can sign up for a free trial. And watch for more Kate's Almost Greats someday soon.